Hey, and welcome back to the Balance Podcast. I'm Stephanie from Starlight Bookkeeping. I'm here ready to pull back the curtain on the financial reality of entrepreneurship. In this episode, we're talking about all the costs of running your own business that conveniently get left out of the I quit my 9 to 5 celebration posts. So get ready for some truth bombs, a reality check on what being your own boss actually costs, and the action steps you need to take to prepare for expenses that you didn't even know were coming. This is the episode that'll make you rethink that romanticized vision of entrepreneurship, but in the best way possible. So let me paint you a picture. You're scrolling Instagram and your feed is full of it. You know what I'm talking about. The aesthetically pleasing desk setup, the laptop at the coffee shop, the I'm my own boss post with the caption about freedom and flexibility and living life on your own terms. Maybe there's a beach in there somewhere, definitely a latte. And look, I am not hating on this, not even at all, because I have been that person. I am that person. I post that content. I believe in the dream. Being your own boss is incredible. The freedom is real. The flexibility is worth it. But here's the thing. Not many people dive deep about the actual costs, not just the financial costs, but all of the costs, the hidden ones, the sneaky ones, the ones that hit you at 2 a.m. when you're trying to figure out if you can afford to pay yourself this month. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff like, oh, you need to pay for software subscriptions. I mean the costs that literally no one prepares you for. The ones that make you go, wait, I have to pay for that now? Since when? Because here's the truth. When you worked for someone else, there was so much stuff that just happened. Benefits that just appeared, costs that just got covered, systems that just existed. And you probably didn't even realize how much of your life was subsidized by having an employer until it all became your problem. So let's break this down into 3 categories. We have the obvious costs that are still way more than you think, the sneaky costs that add up faster than you realize, and the invisible costs that no one really even mentions, but they are absolutely draining you if you're not aware of them. So first up, here are the ones that you know about, but you're probably underestimating. Self-employment taxes. If you've never paid self-employment tax before, you might want to sit down for this one. When you're employed, your employer pays a portion of your payroll taxes and contributions. You pay your share, and it's automatically withheld from your paycheck, so you never even see it. But when you're self-employed, you pay that entire amount, both the employee portion and what your employer used to cover. Depending on where you live, this can be an extra 7 to 15% right off the top that you did not account for when you set your prices. It hits different when it's all coming out of your pocket. Next is health insurance and benefits. So whether you're dealing with private insurance premiums, supplemental coverage, or just the benefits that your employer used to provide, this is really expensive. Dental, vision, disability insurance, that package of benefits that your employer used to provide, you're now paying for all of it yourself. And even if you're in a country with public health care, there are still gaps. There are prescription costs, extended health coverage, things that aren't covered by the basic system. For a lot of my clients, these benefit costs that used to be free are now one of their biggest business expenses. Then there's retirement contributions. So your employer was probably contributing to your retirement, whether that's a pension match, RRSP contributions, 401k match, or whatever system your country uses. That free money is now gone. Now you're funding your retirement savings entirely yourself. And because you're busy trying to keep your business alive, retirement planning probably fell to the bottom of your priority list. But spoiler alert, future you is going to be real mad about that. So now we have the sneaky costs, the stuff that adds up so fast. So we're talking things like software subscriptions. Oof, the software. You need accounting software. That's $50 a month. Email marketing platform, $100 a month. Project management tool, $25 a month. Scheduling software, $15 a month. Cloud storage, $20 a month. Website hosting, $30 a month. And that's just the basics. Before you know it, you're spending $300 to $500 a month on software subscriptions, and half of them you forgot you were even paying for probably. Next is professional development and education. When you worked corporate, they paid for your conferences, they paid for your certifications, they paid for your leadership training. Now, That $2,000 conference ticket is coming out of your business account. The $500 course that you need, you're funding it. And you need to keep learning to stay competitive. So this part isn't optional. Professional services. You need a lawyer to review your contract. There's $500. You need an accountant at tax time. There's $1,500 to $3,000. You need a bookkeeper. Shameless plug here. Hi, that's me. That's another monthly expense. You need a web designer, a copywriter, a VA. All of the stuff that corporate marketing department or legal team or IT department handled, now you're hiring contractors for all of it. Then there are the office costs. Even if you work from home, your costs went up. Your electricity bill is higher because you're home all day now. Your internet needs to be faster and more reliable. You need a real desk setup, not just your kitchen table. You need a good chair because your back is already mad at you. Maybe you need to upgrade your computer. All of these small things, they just add up to thousands. The I need to look professional costs. This is another one too. Business cards, a better website, professional photos, branded templates, a CRM system, marketing materials. I could go on and on. All the things that make you look like a legitimate business, they cost money. And you're comparing yourself to competitors who have been in the business for 10 years with established budgets. So you feel like you need to keep up. I get that. Now let's move on to the invisible costs that are draining your soul and your bank account. These are the real behind the scenes costs. So the cost of being your own IT department. When your computer crashed at your corporate job, you just called IT and someone fixed it. Now you're going to lose an entire day of billable work while you troubleshoot why your email isn't syncing. Or worse, you're paying $150 an hour for emergency tech support because you have a client deadline and your software just died. The mental load. So this is a big one. You are not just doing your actual work anymore. You're also the CEO, the CFO, the CMO, the HR department, the operations manager, the admin assistant, and the janitor. Every decision from which software should I use to should I hire someone or can I afford to take the day off, that all falls on you. The mental load is exhausting and it absolutely has a cost, even if it doesn't show up on your profit and loss statement. Then we have the opportunity costs. Here's the one that keeps me up at night for my clients. Every hour you spend doing $20 an hour admin work is an hour that you're not spending on $200 an hour client work. Every day you spend figuring out your bookkeeping because you're trying to save money by DIYing it is a day that you're not marketing your business or serving your clients. The cost of doing everything yourself isn't just your time. It's money that you didn't make because you were busy doing tasks that aren't in your zone of genius. Then we have the figuring it out tax. You know how when you started your business, you didn't know what you didn't know. Well, you paid for that education. Maybe you chose the wrong software and you had to migrate everything 6 months later. Maybe you hired the wrong contractor and you had to redo the work. Maybe you set your prices too low and you spent 6 months undercharging. All of that learning costs you money. It's like paying tuition to the School of Hard Knocks, except there's no degree at the end, just an expensive lesson. Inconsistent income anxiety. So when you had a salary, you knew exactly what was hitting your bank account every 2 weeks. Now, some months are 10K, some months are 3K, and that unpredictability has a cost in and of itself. Maybe you're keeping a bigger emergency fund, money that could be invested elsewhere, or you're losing sleep, or you're making fear-based decisions instead of strategic ones. The emotional cost of income inconsistency is so real. Then we have the isolation factor. So, you know what was free at your old job? Coworkers, built-in social interaction, water cooler chats, someone to bounce ideas off of. Now you're working alone, and if you want a community, you're paying $200 a month for a co-working space or $50 a month for a business membership community. Human connection, something that was just there before, something that you probably took for granted, now has a price tag. Okay, so I know that all of this sounds really heavy, and you might be thinking, why are you trying to talk me out of entrepreneurship? Because this is kind of depressing. But here's the thing, I am so not trying to talk you out of it at all. I am telling you all of this because knowledge is power. When you know what the actual costs are, you can plan for them. You can price your services appropriately. You can build these expenses into your budget instead of being blindsided by them. You can make informed decisions instead of just reacting to financial emergencies. Because the entrepreneurs who make it, the ones who are still in business 5, 10 years down the line, they aren't the ones who had the easiest path or the most advantages. They're the ones who understood the real costs and they planned accordingly. They priced their services high enough to cover not just their salary, but all these hidden costs too. They budgeted for the sneaky expenses. They invested in support for the invisible costs before they burnt out. So here's what you're going to do. Not someday when you have the time, this week. We've got a few action items here. So action item number 1, pull up your bank and credit card statements from the last 3 months. Go through every business transaction and categorize it. I want you to see exactly where your money's going, not where you think it's going, where it's actually going. You're going to find subscriptions you forgot about. You're going to find categories that are way higher than you realized. And this is all data that you need. And if you've already been doing your bookkeeping, first of all, yay for you, gold star. You already have this info at your fingertips, so go pull up those reports and actually look at them. I'm proud of you for being a step ahead, but don't skip this step. Actually reviewing the data hits different than just knowing it exists somewhere in QuickBooks. Action item number 2, make a list of everything your previous employer provided that you now have to pay for yourself. Health insurance, retirement contributions, paid time off. Because yes, that has a cost now too, right? You're not making money when you're not working. So there's that. Professional development, equipment, software, office space. Add up what these things actually cost. This is your being employed subsidy that you no longer have. Action item number 3, calculate your real hourly rate. Take your gross revenue, subtract all your expenses, including the ones we just talked about, and divide by the actual hours that you worked. Not just billable hours, I'm talking all of your hours. Admin, marketing, bookkeeping, everything. I'll bet it's lower than you think. And if it is lower than what you can make being employed somewhere else, then we need to talk about your pricing strategy. Action item number 4, set up separate savings accounts for taxes, irregular expenses, and your emergency fund. Automate transfers to these accounts every single time money hits your bank account. Treat these like non-negotiable bills. Future you will thank you so much when tax time rolls around and you are not scrambling, not panicking. Action item number 5, audit where you're spending time on $20 an hour tasks that you could delegate, automate, or eliminate. Your time is your most valuable asset as a business owner. If you're spending 15 hours a month on bookkeeping when you could hire it out for $500 a month, that's 15 hours you're trading to save $500. But if your billable rate is $100 an hour, you just gave up $1,500 in potential revenue to save $500. That's a $1,000 loss every single month. Do the math. Be honest about what's worth your time and what isn't. And look, if you're sitting there thinking, I don't even know where to start with tracking all this, that is literally what we do here at Starlight Bookkeeping. We help you see exactly where your money's going, plan for the real cost of running your business, and make strategic decisions based on actual data. Here's what I want you to understand. Knowing about these hidden costs doesn't make entrepreneurship not worth it. It makes you prepared for it. Because the freedom, the flexibility, the ability to build something that's yours, that's still incredibly valuable. But it's only valuable if your business survives. And your business only survives if you understand the full financial picture. The Instagram highlight reel of entrepreneurship is beautiful, but the behind the scenes reality is expensive. Both can be true at the same time. You didn't start your business to be struggling financially. You didn't leave your stable job to make less money and have more stress. You started this because you believe in something better. And something better is absolutely possible. I want that for you, but it requires you to be brutally honest about what it actually costs and plan accordingly. So yeah, being your own boss has its hidden costs, a lot of them. But you know what? Now you know what they are. And knowledge is the first step to building a business that's not just surviving, but actually thriving. All right. So that is it for today's episode of Balance. If this was the reality check that you needed, or if you're now frantically texting your entrepreneur friends like, did you know about all of this? then please share this episode. Screenshot it, tag me, send it to someone who needs to hear it. Let's normalize talking about the real cost of entrepreneurship and not just the pretty parts. You can come find me on Instagram. It's @_StephBlaine_ for more real talk about what it actually takes to run a business, the valuable insights, the practical tips, and yes, of course, the messy middle that we're all going through. Subscribe to Balanced wherever you're listening, because next week we're diving into another amazing topic that you're not going to want to miss. Until then, keep balancing your books, your business, and your life, and maybe go cancel a few of those software subscriptions that you forgot about. Catch you next week.